Hey everyone, we are looking at a trade that I took earlier during the London session on EU here. So I wanted to take some time to recap this, answer some questions that you guys have been asking, go over some things that I'm looking at, and also why I took this trade. And I also have a position that's still in at the time, and I'll talk about that in just a second. Now, I don't normally trade the London session. I'm on the East Coast here. And the times that I've tried to trade London in the past, I have felt like a zombie the rest of the day. So I don't normally trade London at all. I just wait for New York open and then go from there. Sometimes pre-market if there's an A+ setup, but it's normally after New York opens, the dust settles, and then I start looking from there. But I happened to wake up for whatever reason last night and got on my phone and started to see this and GU form a beautiful setup here, and I went ahead and got in. So when I see what I call A+ setups, I will enter two positions. The first being my main trade, and the second one being what I call a runner. And I'll just let that one go, and sometimes that thing will take off big time. Sometimes it'll come back around, and I may just end up closing him down at my main TP area. It's called my runner because I just want to see kind of what he does at that point. I won't let him hit my stop loss, but if it starts to come back down, then I will close him out. So anyway, just wanted to go over this trade with you, answer some questions, do a recap on the candle filter strategy, and let you see this. Secondly, thank you guys for all of the DMs that you've sent, the charts that you've sent. A lot of you look like you've picked up on this very quickly, and this worked out well for you. I had a guy on Twitter, tell me he's up 2.5% on his challenge. I mean, that was great to hear. I saw that and I was like, wow, this is great. So anyway, it looks like it's working well for a lot of you guys, and that's awesome. It's a great model. Again, this is not something that I formulated or created. It's something that I piggybacked off of from Flaw in the Matrix on Twitter, and then just wanted to create a visual representation for you guys to see how this is done. So anyway, with all that said, let's jump into this here. First of all, let's just recap what the candle filter model is. So what you are looking for with this strategy, with this model, is you're looking for an area of liquidity to be swept, either on the 1 hour or on the 15-minute time frame. So if you're looking at the 1 hour, you enter on the 5. If you're looking at the 15-minute, then you enter on the 1. So my preference is the 15-minute time frame, and then jumping down to the lower time frame for an entry. That's just me. I've talked to a couple of people that like the 1 hour, and that's okay. I just find that there's more entries on the 15-minute time frame. And I just go from there. So anyway, looking for a liquidity area to be swept. So here's the 15-minute time frame as of this morning, and you can see this area here has not been swept at this point yet. You can see this area was swept with this candle here, creating this low here, creating liquidity down here, and then this area finally gets taken out by this huge candle right here, which was great, because another thing that got me excited this morning was we were in discount at the time. Obviously this trade is still playing out, but at the time we were heavily in discount. If you go to the lower time frame, which you'll see in a second, that was in discount. So I got excited knowing that, seeing that, and felt very confident in this trade. So anyway, 15-minute area of liquidity is swept here. What you are looking for with the candle model is an opposing candle to close back up and within, or underneath, I guess I should say in this case, underneath that swept liquidity. When it does that, you want to wait for that candle to close and then put your OTE, what I call your OTE fib, on there, and you want to go from wick to wick. In this case, there was no wick at the bottom, but I'm at the wick on the top. And then obviously, I'm covering the entire candle plus the wick. So area of liquidity to be swept, an opposing candle has to be an opposing candle. Wait for that to close, put the fib on, and then you jump down to the lower time frame on the next 15-minute candle that begins to form and start here. So this was the 3:30 candle right here. So let's go ahead and jump down to the lower time frame. I'm going to jump down to the 3-minute, and the reason being is because if I jump to the 1-minute, it's not going to show you the zones. In fact, let me just do that real quick. See, things, 3:30 is way back here, and we'll talk about the entry, but it's already mapping out what's going on right here, so you won't see the zones correctly. So that's why I'm going back to the 3 for visual purposes, and you'll see that on the 15 we were heavily in discount. On the 1-minute at the time, this being the 3, but we're heavily in discount. So this to me is an A+ setup. Your higher time frame correlates with your lower time frame. That's complete sauce right there that you just need to get in, pour that sauce all over the cake, and just take off in this trade. And this was one reason why I entered this, and also another reason why I left a runner. So just jumping back to the 15 here real quick. Once I got it, you know what, let's go back to 3, I'm sorry. Because I want to look at the 3:30 candle. So again, the next candle that formed on the 15-minute time frame was 3:30, and 3:30 candle is right here. Actually, I'm sorry, it's this guy here, yeah. So when this guy formed, he dropped down. Again, I'm on the 3-minute time frame. While it's doing this is when I went ahead and set my sell limit to the 61.8 area. I've had another user that reached out and says he's been using the 0.5, and that's great, and I've seen that a lot. I've seen it often actually where it will hit the 0.5 and then turn around and keep going and not drop down to the lower time frames, and that's okay. Sometimes it will do that. But you've got your lower time frame here. You can see I also had a fair value gap that I drew as well that just gave me another confluence, but it did hit the 61.8 and then took off from there. And like I said, my second position is still in this trade right now. So my TP, jumping back to the 15 here, let me get rid of this guy real quick. So once it tapped down here, I went ahead, played it safe, and I set my TP area for, I got the wrong, hold on. I set my TP area for right here is where I set it, and it did hit that. And then, like I said, I've got a runner that's still in, and it's still going through here. I've got my daily bias that I have about EU for the day today, but I just want to see what this runner does, and it may very well sweep up here. I'm just going to let it play out and kind of see what happens. But stop loss, let me talk about that. So the four pairs that I mentioned that I trade, guys, are EU, GU, NASDAQ, and US 30, or some of you trade NQ and YM. For EU, GU, and US 30, when I get into a trade, I will put my stop loss at the 1.1 level. It hardly will go below that, or hardly ever goes below that. There may be a few times when it has happened, but it hardly ever does on these three pairs. NASDAQ is another pain in the butt altogether. I love trading NAS. She's very smooth the way she moves, but she is also a pain in the butt that she likes to stop hunt. She'll go up and take sellers out. She will go up and take buyers out before the real move happens. And sometimes she's smooth, and sometimes she has an attitude where she will do that, sometimes once, sometimes twice, and then takes off. So with that said, she frustrates me. I love NAS, but it's So anyway, with that said, what I will do with NAS is, depending on how the setup looks, I will have my stop loss, if you can imagine like a 1.3 or 1.4, I'll have it down here. Sometimes I would even put it down to the low here of the wick. It's just, again, it's just me. And then once I feel confident that, maybe it comes down here or whatever, and then it starts to turn. And once I feel and see and feel confident about that upward movement that it's taken off, then I will, enter another position, maybe a higher lot size, whatever. It just depends on what's going on with the trade at the time. But my point is, with NAS, again, she's a pain in the butt. I will put my stop loss, a lot lower than I do the other three. So just so you guys know how I treat that. In terms of liquidity levels, people have asked about that. I don't want to go into that a whole lot here. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time with that. You can go on YouTube. In fact, I just did it yesterday to see what would come up. But you can just type in how to find liquidity, and there's all kinds of videos, there's all kinds of shorts out there that will go into that. But basically, you're looking for an area that still needs to have displacement. You can see like this area of liquidity here was swept with this area here. This area here was eventually swept here. So you're looking for areas of displacement, is the way I see it. And again, this area swept here, or this swept this area of liquidity, which again formed a new low and a new area of liquidity. But as you can see on the 15-minute time frame, it had not been swept at this point. And when it came down and slam dunked through here, being in the discount area already, I got excited and got my hand on the trigger and got ready for the setup. But again, I'm sorry guys, I'm just not going to go through the liquidity areas. You can look that up on YouTube, but you're looking for areas of displacement, basically, areas that need to be swept. Like looking at this chart here, this is an area of liquidity up here, and hopefully it comes back. What I'm actually hoping EU does is come up here, sweep this area, and then come down from here the rest of the day. I don't know if it's going to do that. Sometimes you have to just roll with what the market gives you, but that's what I'm looking for. In terms of many of you guys have asked about when do you trade this? Ideally, it's I like to see this during your ideal times, your macro times, the kill zone hours. Silver bullet. It's ideal when it plays out that way, but with price being fractal, I think somebody mentioned that. One of the comments, you guys know that. Sometimes this will happen after hours. And when it does that, it's okay. You just kind of have to look at what's going on overall with price action. What's the setup look like? Does it look like an A+ setup? Is it maybe a B+ setup? You got to make a choice on whether you enter that trade or not. But it does happen after hours. Sometimes it plays out beautifully. Sometimes it's kind of like eh. But again, ideal time frames to trade the candle filter for me are in your kill zone hours, your silver bullet, and especially the macros. If it happens during that time, that's ideal sauce right there. So just wanted to mention that. I'm trying to think of other comments that were asked. I think those were the main two that keep coming up over and over. It was the stop loss, and then when do you trade this? So if you guys have other questions, just feel free to put them in the comments, or send me a message on Twitter, or drop me a comment on one of the videos. But those are the two main ones that I wanted to cover. I guess I'm blanking out. I can't think of anything else that was really asked that wasn't asked over and over in different ways. So anyway, hope this has helped everybody. Again, liquidity area to be swept on the 15-minute opposing candle. Put the fib on that opposing candle when it closes, and then you want to watch what the next candle does, and hopefully it will come back down, tap one of those OTE levels, and then take off from there. Of course, you can be a little bit more aggressive like I was yesterday with US 30, and when that first fair value gap is formed, you can enter on that guy. And ironically, that's actually what happened here. You got a fair value gap that formed here, here, and here. This one came back down, tapped into it, and actually, basically hit the 61.8 level, a little bit below it, and then took off from there. So it's a very powerful strategy. Again, like if you're looking for a model, struggling to find a model, this is playing out beautifully here. Anyway, if you're looking for a strategy to use, check this out. It's like I said, it will teach you patience, teach you a little bit of psychology, and not have you jumping in so many trades like many people who get excited when they first learn. They're learning how to trade. They're learning ICT concepts, and then they just start kind of just jumping excitedly at everything and everything out there, or anything and everything out there. So anyway, I feel like I'm babbling here. So I just wanted to go over this trade that is I took so far this morning. We can see what the rest of the day does here, and talk about the stop loss, talk about entry times, and I hope this has helped. If you got any questions, like I said, feel free to reach out. I love talking about this stuff. Love to chat with you. Love to see your charts. I'm still learning as well. Again, this is not my formula that I created. This is just one I piggybacked on and wanted to get it out there because I didn't see anything on this video-wise, for people to look at. So it's a very powerful strategy. I'm loving it, and combining it with my own, I'm doing very well. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this. This is the London session on what's becoming one of my favorite pairs to trade, EU, and we'll see what the rest of the day gives us here. So again, I'm looking at EU, GU, US 30, and that pain in the butt NAS that I love and can't stand at the same time. Anyway, all right, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will see you on the next one, and you guys have a great rest of your day trading. Take care, guys.